Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody. We have additions to our agenda. We have the Eastern Oregon Economic Development Planning Project MOU. There was discussion about that yesterday. Along with that, we need to appoint a project manager for that. The other addition is acknowledgement for signature of the Red Rock Pipeline project, which is going down the road right away. Those are the two things that I have for additions. Does the board or Melanie or legal counsel have any other additions or deletions?
No, nothing specific.
All right. So with that, we'll start off with the 10 o'clock public comment for anything that is not on our agenda. We'll take public comment at this time.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I get to be the spokesperson. As you know, this lot over here has been an issue for several years, and we just feel that it's time that, you know, we got to put pressure on the owners to clean that up, you know, follow county ordinances, and because it is a safety issue.
Absolutely, and I can speak some of that. Jennifer, our nuisance abatement lady, was not able to make it today. She also does the building side, so I told her it'd be fine if she couldn't come up here and explain. It started through our process, through our ordinance, which is basically county law, and so the owner's been notified. The owner has responded and is planning on picking it up. There's a time frame that it triggers once the ordinance, once the letter has been sent out. Melanie is actually in contact with Jennifer this morning to see if he responded again. He hasn't cleaned it at the time he said he was going to this last weekend. He said he was going to be there. Don't know what happened. Once that contact's made, if he doesn't get it cleaned up, then it gives opportunity for the county to come in and clean it and either put a lien or the charge goes towards the property. So we have started that, and I believe it was your letter that actually started that process once we received that letter. So that's where we're at in the process. It doesn't move as fast as what people would like. It is private property, and there's private property rights, so we have to follow our process to get there before we can go on that.
How long do they have?
What we've been doing is by the ordinance, it's 10 days that they have to respond within that 10 days. If they have a plan, then we give them time enough to implement that plan. Where he has responded and said they are going to clean it up within their own abilities. We've given him some time. If he doesn't respond back today, the next day, we'll probably have to look at going to the next level on this one here because of on the grass and all that. That's where we see that it's a nuisance issue. It's on the fire danger. That's not it.
Right. He lives in Bush, and I talked about this a little while ago. He lives in Texas, so we're not sure who he said he was getting a hold of to clean it up, but he said he was contacting folks.
Right.
Didn't he notify us about 8 to 10 years ago that he was going to clean it up then?
You know, you were talking about that, which honestly I don't remember. No doubt.
I know we brought this up several years ago.
Well, I can't remember off the top of my head. I can tell you that now we at least do have a person who nuisances in the process. At that time, if it was 8 years ago,
Right, there was.
we weren't quite as organized as we are today. So you can't fix it if that was the case before, but we'll work on it from here forward.
Right. Yeah, we had a lot of nuisances, as I think we all know, but as Commissioner Winters alluded to, you know, we didn't have the means to do it. We tried all the time, we did, but 2 years ago, when he put a group of folks together and we rewrote the ordinance, we adopted the new ordinance. It's been close to 2 years ago. We have went through the cycle on the enforcement person, but we now have someone long-term county employee that's overseeing that along with the buildings side of things, the permitting, all that. And we do hope and believe that as we go forward, we'll start to see these things being taken care of. We've already saw places where we've had action taken on other nuisance issues. And this one needs to be taken care of. We truly recognize that.
And truly what, being things have been really enforced for many, many years, 30, 40, 50 years, we're really trying to get owners to get in compliance. We're giving them every chance. It's just like, I appreciate you. We put that out there to try to get people to be a good neighbor, trying to get people to start taking care of their places. We do have the hammer as government to go in there and do that. We don't have the funds to go in and clean up a whole lot of places on extreme nuisance problems. Going and weed eating this is probably a pretty minor cost compared to some of the other nuisances that we have across the county that would be inclusive of cleaning up a lot of garbage and things. So we're trying to do the best we can with a soft hand without getting a lot of county expense out there. Just to be straightforward with it. We've had fair amount of compliance. We're seeing some difference. So,
You know, it's just not this lot, we have other lots in town too.
Well,
You know,
Keith,
a couple of, you know, sagebrush.
We took a drive around before the meeting today, and what I'm hopeful of is what we've seen in some other places is that when this one, whichever way it gets taken care of, that we don't have some neighbors that say, I need to take care of mine too.
Right.
You know, that type of thing, that we see a kind of a reaction that is a positive thing.
to be perfectly honest with you, I wish that there was other parts of the county looked as good as good parts, Silver Lake does. You do have some brush and some different things, but take a tour around Lakeview and Crystal Valley and other places. Not to belittle anything here, but you got to have some brush problems and some different things, but I don't see
See
them.
some progress in Christmas Valley. I think they.
Oh, absolutely,
That's-
absolutely, and in Lakeview too, but
Yes, yes.
it's easy to tour around and see more than weeks.
Tom had lined out for the community service workers to weed eat that lot, which would be a great thing to do right now. And that got stopped because of the funding.
No, that's, our community service workers are not allowed to go on private property. This is private property. There's certain things that community service qualifies for. Now, then if the fire department is setting up and saying that they're taking the responsibility for cleaning that up, it might fit community service. But for us to go in and clean private property with community service workers, we can't do that. There's certain guidelines, criteria. So, after it goes through the process, and if it goes through the nuisance abatement process, and as the county says, we're going to clean it up, then it fits the process, and we would be able to use community service workers for the weed eating. But to just go in on private property because of people wanting to clean it up, I would ask legal counsel, but I think it would be considered trespassing. That's correct.
If you imagine, Patty, for a minute, this is how I looked at it when I heard that suggestion. Someone lives someplace and their place is a total mess, and they've got weeds up to wherever, but they're living there. And then all of a sudden, we decide as a county to send community service into somebody's private property. You know, they're gonna come out on the front porch and say, what the heck are you doing? Get off of my property. The fact that we have an absentee landowner in the house isn't something we can have. Doesn't change the legalities of what we have to do in the process we have to go through. As much as it would have been nice to have had someone go in, but one of the neighbors over there might have said, well, while you're at it, clean mine too.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how long can we expect this process to take? Any idea? Before I have to write another letter to you gentlemen?
Well, it's in the process right now, and like I said, we're trying to get compliance out of the landowner. That makes for better neighbors and the whole works. If they don't respond and get some things done this week, I would say we'll be looking at going to the next level on this particular one. Because it's relatively simple compared to the other ones, because it is, and I'm not talking brush, but we can do that now. It's a little bit more simple than if you're trying to haul off a bunch of old cars and garbage and everything.
But what about the house itself?
The house itself, I don't know what you're wanting with the house
Well,
itself.
the problem is, we have, going through different stages, we get young kids that find out this house is open, and here, at one point, you go in here, and there was mattresses, and there was condoms, and there was beer bottles, and these were all teenagers, and they're smoking and stuff, and if it takes off in that house, it's gonna take off, you won't have to worry about the reading.
Well, I would think the first thing would be to phone the local sheriff and they're trespassing, and they should be cited for that, because that's private property. That'd be no different than them coming into your garage and doing that. I don't see that house. It looks like it's dilapidated, it's old, it's all that. I can drive around, there's a lot around like that. The county doesn't go in and tear those down or
No.
do those types of things.
I was talking more like, get
Well,
landlords.
our local deputy could probably give you some good input as to what he's able to do relative to people actually going in there.
Yeah.
And we were worried about the kid, get the fire started.
Absolutely. If the kids in there smoking those bars and transit, there's high probability of that fire. But they are trespassing. I guess I don't have an answer for what the county's duties are to take care of every house that isn't livable in the county.
Well, your concern is real, because I remember the very same thing happening in Paisley, in the old hotel.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, that got started on fire. And I don't know, Keith, were you still in school?
Yeah.
And I thought you were. And that's exactly how it happened. And it is a,
Were kids in there smoking?
No, it was, if I remember right, it was a guy that was trying to renovate some of the wood, or something. I just don't, seemed like he was trying to take, like maybe go bar out or something. It was power tools, if I remember, I think.
I remember a different boat. We don't need to go down too
Yeah,
far down
yeah.
memory lane. I was the assistant fire management officer at Paisley.
Right.
We were fighting structure fires with everybody in the county.
Everybody in
But
Same.
I understand your point.
Yes.
Completely.
I don't know really to be honest with you exactly what our duty is. Commissioners would be on private structures. If there's DEQ issues such as sewage and that stuff that fits our nuisance.
Well, and Keith might have an idea with the state fire marshal, those kind of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Between the sheriff's department for trespassing and the fire marshal for potential fire hazard, I don't know.
I don't know either. I can make a phone call and find
Yeah.
out.
On the brush and the weeds part of it, we're staying with it. And like, once again, I apologize for Jennifer not being here so she can talk exactly what she's had the conversation with the landowner. But as of 9 o'clock, the landowner had got back over this morning, so she's working on it as we speak. Is there any other questions towards that? Any other public comment? All right, we're going to move on with our agenda, and we will start with the additions. The Eastern Oregon Economic Development Planning MOU. This is brought to us by our planning director. It's the Eastern Oregon Economic Development Planning Project that takes in both incorporated communities, the city of Paisley and the town of Lakeview. It takes in the county also, and that is where we come in
Conservation and Development, and Lake County, and the city of Paisley and the town of Lakeview.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Along with that, we need to appoint a project manager by the memorandum of understanding. And so,
I'll make a motion, we appoint Darwin Johnson, our county planning director, as the project manager.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Darwin Johnson as a project manager. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The next thing that we have on conditions is the Red Rock Pipeline Project. This is wetland delineation that has to be signed. We just need consensus on this. Already been approved for it to go down the railroad right away. This is just accepting and signing the letter for the delineation. Did you see anything that was
No, this just starts the process, so it's just the examination of our wetlands. So.
okay? So,
I concur.
concur, so we'll sign that. Melanie, make sure we get that signed. And back to Mary Ann. So, the next item, and most all of our county employees are tied up on many things, so we don't see the department heads here today. Our road official is busy working on landfill issues and finishing up chip sealing and shouldering today, so not chip sealing, shouldering. So our next item is the solid waste transfer contract. We went out for an RFP on transferring from the Christmas Valley transfer site and Paisley transfer site. We accepted those bids and we went with the lowest bid, which was Lakeview Sanitation. So we went with the option for the county to supply the containers. That's a cost of $41,184 per year. Whenever we accepted that, then we had to bring the contract together. So now we have the contract to sign between Lake County and Lakeview Sanitation. Yesterday it was brought forward for a scrivener error, little addition. Did we get a clean copy? Did you receive any?
Oh, this one, yeah, this one.
But did you get,
No, I didn't see the changes.
okay,
It's the first version.
so,
Yeah. I'm surprised.
yeah, Kevin was going to get that back up to us.
We can approve it with the notice that
So, for discussion, the correction was under page 1, 2B, the option to renew instead of review, needs to be there, and that it needs to add that the option will be approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Right.
So, that is the addition and correction to the contract that's in front of us.
Well, we also talked about, I don't know what the verbiage was going to be under fuel escalation. We were going to make sure that read so that it could be fuel price going down as well as fuel price going up, not just escalation.
So, Mr. Bailey, were you to approve this contingent upon your review of those items being added to the contract?
Yes, you can.
So I will move to approve contingent upon legal counsel's review of those things being correct.
I'll second it.
Motion to make a second to accept the solid waste transfer contract contingent upon legal counsel's review. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Non-disturbance agreement. This is one that came through. We've already approved another segment of this through land use. This is for a solar site. Whenever they came through with the first non-disturbance agreement, they had missed this piece of property. Our planning director came before us yesterday and made sure that everything was correct as far as legal descriptions and the whole works. So it's just cleaning up where we already went. Entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the updated non-disturbance subordination agreement as presented.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So now we have amendment to the contract of sale. We have sold a piece of property in our industrial park to Sam and Suzanne Stewart. Whenever we went to sign to Amerititle, we found out that there was some lots listed that were not part of the original sale. And the contract had been signed, so we have to do an amendment to that contract. So we have amendment number 1, which amends the original contract into compliance with exactly what was sold to them, so that it reads right, so that when the deed is done, it has the right description there. Mr. Bailey, you reviewed this? Yes. Everything's good.
It does exactly what you said, it just corrects an error in the record, so that the contract of sale reflects exactly what was transferred, so.
So I'll make a motion we approve the amendment to the contract with Sam and Susan Stewart and as amendment number 1, correcting the land description.
I'll second the motion. The motion's been made and seconded to accept the amendment number 1 to the contract. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. The next item is Bailey and Carmel Memo of Understanding. So this is between Lake County and our legal counsel. I jokingly said, who's going to represent us today? So Mr. Bailey has been our legal counsel for many years. Over the years, we've been able to have Mr. Bailey at every meeting that is able to get there. In today's world, and with the changing of technology and everything, where he commutes from Bend to Lakeview, he sees the value towards the county and towards operations to be able to Skype, be able to do some of that remotely on some of our meetings, that we don't have the need necessarily for legal counsel to be right there. And so rewriting this agreement will be where that Mr. Bailey will be at every meeting, that's our quarterly meetings out of Lakeview, Fort Rock, Christmas Valley, Silver Lake, and Paisley. He will be in person in those. He'll be in person at any of them that it's requested that we feel we need to have legal counsel there. The other ones, he will be available by either Skype or phone, so we still have representation. With that, all our department heads and elected officials have basically free use legal counsel. He's required to respond within 24 hours to all of our requests, which he does. So that sort of gives a quick overview.
Yeah, and I'll just simply say in my 12 years that times have changed, as you alluded to, Commissioner. And a lot of what Mr. Bailey does for the county, he doesn't do in the meetings. I mean, it's done each and every day in his office. A lot of the work, a lot of the contracts, a lot of the agreements, a lot of the negotiations, the interaction with other lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. So the preponderance, I would say, Mr. Bailey, of your work is away from actual county meetings.
Well, that's true. Yeah, the department heads contact me with whatever their problems are and deal with it in between our meetings. It's rare that we tie up anything that is county business during a meeting. And the only thing I have is, I think I've been counsel for 16 years, maybe longer than 16 years. And originally the idea was to create, even though I wasn't in Lakeview, to create legal precedence that was the same as being just down the hall in Lakeview. And the change here just recognizes what's changed over the years, where there have been times when either due to a conflict of legal schedule or weather, I've appeared in meetings by telephone. And then there's sometimes that the commissioners have contacted me and said, there's no need to come down, we're going to have a 15-minute meeting. So it doesn't change any of the financial commitment of the county, doesn't affect any of the services to the county, just sort of recognizes that technology has allowed us to be more flexible.
So for discussion, number 6 on this, where it does, we get a certain amount of litigation up to 36 hours per calendar year. After that, we get your normal rate per hour.
You've never gone over that. There's never been anything in 16 years that has required more than 36 hours of litigation. I think last year we had a pretty heavy litigation agenda, and that probably ended up being about 24 hours. And that was very unusual because that required very forward going to federal court, involving the railroad, as well as an individual who was suing to obtain records that they could have gotten by public record request, but they couldn't form litigation, and then ultimately dropped the lawsuit. But that was a very unusual year, and you didn't come close to this, so you've never actually gone over it.
Okay. Well,
And I can have a contact if you can anyway, so.
well, just for discussion and thought, I appreciate that very much, which then you should be very comfortable to push that up to 56 hours instead of 36 hours. Because that, whenever you don't have to travel to Lakeview, it's about an 8-hour day.
If you want to put 56, I'm okay with that.
Well, I just threw a number out there.
I brought it up, because we did negotiate that a few years back simply by keeping track, and I don't know that anybody kept track because it wasn't an issue and it won't be an issue going forward.
Right. And earlier this year, Melanie, when she was working on the budget, she contacted me about that line item, about what should I put in there for legal costs, anticipated legal costs. And we talked about that. I said, it's never happened. You can put 0 here because it's never happened. It would be something extraordinary. It would be something we'd be talking about. This would require either litigation with the county as a plaintiff, which would be very unusual, or litigation where the county is a defendant and it is not covered by your insurance, where defense counsel would come in from the insurance company. And it's difficult, other than those unusual ones last year, to think of how that would happen. But
So you know me and my sense of humor, so in the unlikely event you ever sue us, who's going to cover those costs?
I'll sue you for free.
So
I'm
you're fine with it? Okay. So it would take a motion to accept this.
Yeah.
And I'll make that motion that we accept the amended memorandum of understanding between Mr. Bailey and Ronald and the county.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded to accept the amended memorandum of understanding as presented. Further discussion? Mr. Bailey and I have had this conversation. First of the year, there will be 2 new commissioners coming on, and Mr. Bailey will probably make quite a few of the meetings.
Oh, right.
That's the first couple as new commissioners are on.
And that was also one of the reasons we wanted to do it now, is because the other contract had language that was outdated in terms of not addressing technology. So we wanted to set this up before the commissioners came in. But my intention is to make every meeting at the very least the first quarter, so that we get to know each other and they can get to know who I am and ask what questions they need. So
Yep.
yeah.
Just one, that's part of the discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is Fifth Amendment to OHA Agreement number 1531127. This was quite a lengthy document. It's sort of normal procedure. You get these amendments occasionally. This one here, Melanie, if you want to speak to it a little bit, this is on the electronic funds transfer.
Yeah, this doesn't change any of the agreements, it just changes how we're paid. We won't need a physical paper check any longer, it'll go ECH directly into our accounts.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Bailey, you've seen nothing wrong with it. You read that full document.
112 pages,
Yeah.
We get these all the time, and it's 112 pages, but they just change things like a date, or they change a word here and there, but they have to attach all of the various exhibits from A through H each time.
I'll make a motion, we accept the OHA agreement number 53127 as presented.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I have meeting minutes of 8:15, combined work record session. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 8:15:18.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of 8:15 and 18. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries. That covers our regular agenda. Do we have any legal updates for open session?
No, just to tell you that I dealt with some issues coming out of the sheriff's department where the quashed 2 subpoenas requiring deputy sheriffs to provide their records and their presence in litigation involving one of our citizens. And there's been total investigation actually ongoing, so we quashed both of those, and everything is just continuing without disturbing the sheriff's department.
Okay. So anything for executive session?
No.
All right. With that, we will adjourn at 10:33.